Hello, this is Jim Guilkey coming to you from the Learning Verse. What we're going to talk about today is why your sales training isn't effective. Again, you know that we're known for M-PACT Learning, and we compare that to what is done traditionally. And what we find is done traditionally for sales training is several things. One is the pre-work, let's say it's an e-learning module, is normally what we call a page turner. Read, take a test. Read, take a test. Jim got 80%. Jim can go to the next module. Several problems with that. One is it's not engaging. Most importantly, it promotes memorization. Memorization of facts, not application. When you take that pre-work, you move into the classroom, you have a similar situation. Normally, it's a very experienced salesperson that is doing the training, and they may not have design background. So their tendency is to stand with PowerPoints and lecture, and then again, through some testing mechanism, test at the level of memorization. May do some role playing, but again, especially in sales, let's say sales for pharma, the difference between memorizing what you should say to these top 3 objections that you might get and actually understanding anatomy, physiology, disease state, physician profile, the variances between our product and their product, if you can get a deep level of knowledge and the ability to apply that, that's the differentiator, not memorization. And then I think one of the major challenges that are faced in the traditional training architectures that relates to sales is what happens. So we did the pre-work, we went in the classroom. I'm not really ready to go out in the field yet. I may not be highly confident, but that's okay because we're going to use the field for trial and error. You'll get better the more you do it. The trial and error method has several drawbacks. First of all, it creates a lot of stress, so you could have high turnover in your sales force. Lost sales, again, especially if we talk about physicians who don't have a lot of tolerance or patience, you got to add value, etc. That can be a problem. Lost revenues and damaged relationships. If I do missteps the first couple times I'm in the field because I wasn't properly trained before entering the field, I could damage a relationship and maybe never get back in there again. That's the problem with the traditional approach. If you use the M-PACT learning approach, it's much, much different. And the major difference is we're going to train them to the application level. So pre-work, instead of just memorizing, here's the things to say with these 3 objectives, we're going to actually have, for example, there's foundational knowledge, but it would be much more engaging than a page turner. And also, we're going to do application, even in the pre-work, even in self-paced digital e-learning modules. Example, we train them on some concepts. Then what we would have them do is watch a video of an interaction between a sales associate and a customer. Again, let's say it's a physician. And have them actually analyze that and grade it based on a predetermined scale and predetermined set of categories. So they're applying it from the get-go. Then when you move into the classroom, M-PACT Learning, if you recall, puts a lot of impetus on the learner. So rather than me standing up and lecturing, here's what you say, here's what you do with different customers, we're going to put the impetus on the learner. Great example. Again, I'm going to use a pharma model. Have people work in groups virtually in preparation for a classroom interactive exercise. Give them a scenario, give them all the evidence they need, and have them, through this problem-based, collaborative effort, come up with a presentation. A physician has some misconceptions about this particular drug. We want you to do a presentation on how you would use evidence to overcome those particular issues or obstacles. They're going to present that out to the class, and rather than the facilitator being the only one to judge it, have the class give them the same tool to evaluate that. Again, it's problem-based, it's real life, it's authentic, and the result of those types of interactions, scenario-based, impetus on the learner, is again at an application level. The next thing in the M-PACT learning architecture for sales training is a structured field experience. Traditionally, that's a ride-along. Jim rides along with Henry Henry's an expert. We hope that learning occurs there. We've all done those. We're going to structure that. Put the impetus on the learner. Give them some objectives. Start with simple things, move to more complex things. That way we're going to ensure that those field experiences actually are designed around learning objectives and outcomes. And then this is a big one. Once you're in the field, after your M-PACT Learning Methodology, first of all, you're going to come out at a much higher level of competency. You're going to be proficient, ready to move to expert at a much faster pace. Give them tools. We've created one called a conversation planning guide, where I can go in and profile who I'm going to see, what product they're using, what product I'm trying to sell them, and it allows you to prepare statements, which evidence I should look at and present, etc. One other thing I would say about the use of performance support tools as somebody comes out of class, especially a new hire, into the field for sales. First of all, it helps them build expertise at a much faster rate. It also gives them a confidence level that they wouldn't have if they don't have that support tool. But here's something that's very important. Traditionally, those tools are there. You all have them, you've used them. But what will happen sometimes is the end of class, they'll say, and oh, by the way, there's all these tools to help you prepare. They're on the internet. Go get them. If you did not introduce those tools and utilize them as part of the entire training curriculum, the fact that they will go out and use them and sustain that, it's not very likely to happen. So don't introduce the tools at the end. Introduce them early, have them use them, and then it's a natural for them to utilize those same tools when they're in the field. And by using that M-PACT Learning methodology, again, working towards the application level and then supporting them with tools, you're going to avoid a lot of the pitfalls of the traditional trial and error, which I mentioned before, damage relationships, frustration, turnover, because you're much more highly competent and confident in the field, and the results are going to be astounding.